Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel in the first place. Today we have a Tamaki X listener. I don't have too much to say other than if you're in the live chat, be respectful to the moderators, and let's go ahead and get into it. For the first time in hours, Tamaki looked up from the book he had been reading. He hadn't even noticed the passage of time, except when the sunlight he'd been reading by finally died, the world turning towards sunset. The only sound in the dimly lit room came from the ticking of the clock and the occasional shuffle of turning pages. Tamaki had been reading since noon, you having disappeared back into your study to finish some work from your hero agency. He thought reading would clear his mind and give him an answer to the problem he was facing, but it was no use. Even after hours of reading, he couldn't recall anything about the plot, the characters, or anything else in the story for that matter. His mind was entirely focused on you. Shutting his book, Tamaki sighed and slumped on the couch, worry pinching his features. You'd been getting so much work lately, and the adverse effect of it was noticeable. Dark circles had appeared under your eyes, you barely ever ate, and you never had a moment to yourself. Not only that, but all-nighters were a normal occurrence. For weeks now, Tamaki would fall asleep alone and wake up alone, shuffling into your study only to find you passed out on your desk, piles of work forming as small towers around your exhausted figure. Today was a special case. You had actually come out of your cave to eat lunch with him, kindling a small spark of hope that your work was finally done, but unfortunately he was wrong and you disappeared shortly after, explaining that you still had a lot of work to do. All he could do was stare sadly after you had returned to the work he so desperately wanted to burn for tearing you away from him. When all of this had first started, Tamaki had tried to be supportive and understanding, despite the seed of dread that was quickly growing in his stomach. When more work started piling up and the time you spent with him grew shorter and shorter, he knew his fears had been correct. Tamaki didn't know what to do, but he had to do something. Things couldn't go on like this for much longer. Not only would you break soon if it did, but Tamaki didn't know how he could handle this anymore, seeing you destroy yourself. His worry for you was quickly consuming his waking days. His brows furrowed and he raked a hand through his hair as he was trying to think of a way to help you. Surely there was something, anything he could do for you. The sudden rumbling of his stomach broke him from his thoughts, reminding him of the time. Tamaki hoped you would take a break to eat tonight, but he doubted he would see you as you had already taken the time to eat lunch. Wait a minute. His eyes widened and he sat up, an idea forming. Maybe he couldn't make all of your work disappear, but he could at least make it so that way you would take a break, right? Picking up his phone, he dialed the number of your hero agency. It would probably take some negotiating and begging, but for you it was worth it. Slamming another piece of paper onto the pile to your left, you groaned and slumped over your desk, exhaustion blurring your vision and numbing your mind. Need more coffee, you said, yawning. Judging by the giant pile of work sitting next to you, it was going to be another all-nighter. Work was beginning to take over your life. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, creeping at a petty pace. But you couldn't stop. Not now, at least. Leaning back in your desk chair, you stared up at the ceiling with sore, tired eyes. You couldn't keep going like this. Every day you could feel yourself weakening a little more, limbs becoming heavier and dark circles deepening in color. All you really wanted to do right now was flop into bed with Tamaki and forget everything except the feel of his arms around you, the scent of him as you snuggled into his chest, the soothing sound of his voice murmuring words of love in your ear. He was so close, yet he might as well be an ocean away with how much you'd interacted with him lately. Looking to the unfinished pile of work once more, you silently promised that once it was finished, you would go and give him all the love and attention he deserved for being so patient with you. Your stomach growled. For now though, you needed food and coffee, or you wouldn't be able to keep working through the night. Rising to your feet, you braced your hands against your desk as your vision blacked out, your legs threatening to buckle and send you slumping to the floor. Shaking your head, you waited for the feeling to pass as you shuffled carefully to the door. As you reached your hand for the knob, it swung open, revealing a surprised Tamaki. You winced as he blinked at you, thinking of how terrible you must look right now. Tamaki, you inquired as he stared at you, expression unreadable. Take a break. His shoulders slumped, features shifting in concern and slight desperation. Please. What? Your eyes widened in surprise. I mean, I was worried about you and I called your hero agency and they said it was okay for you to take the next few weeks off. Your tired mind refused to process his words. But I still have so much to do. Why would my hero agency give me time off? He averted his eyes, expression guilty. I explained how you've been working the past few weeks a lot, and yours spend the summer with their families, so they said it was okay. Tamaki met your gaze once more, reaching out and holding your hands tentatively in his own. Take a break, listener. Run away with me for the summer. Gradually, his words sank in. Now is your chance to take a much-needed break. You wouldn't have to worry about work for the next few weeks. Tamaki wouldn't be an ocean away anymore. He would only be a moment away. Looking into his earnest, hopeful eyes, you felt a weight that had been sitting on your shoulders for weeks finally lift. A sound that was a half-sob, half-laugh escaped your lips as you sprang forward and wrapped your arms around Tamaki's neck, burying your face in his shoulder as he stumbled back a few steps. Heart swelling with love for him, you couldn't decide whether to sob with relief or cover Tamaki in kisses. He cared about your well-being so much, to the extent that he'd actually asked your hero agency to allow you to take a break. Pulling back, you cupped his face in your hands and kissed him. The poor shy boy blushed and gasped against your lips, but reciprocated a moment later, holding you in a comforting embrace. A few tears escaped your closed eyes. You'd missed him so much. Lungs demanding air, you separated slightly, panting against each other's lips. Thank you, Tamaki. Thank you so much, you murmured, lips brushing against his. He smiled, eyes shut in happiness, and an adorable blush staining his cheeks. You don't have to thank me, listener. His forehead pressed to yours. I love you. More tears welled in your eyes and fell down your face as a bright laugh bubbled up from somewhere deep in your chest. I love you too, Tamaki. I love you so much. What would I do without you? His chest rumbled with a rich chuckle, a sound you treasured for its rarity. I only did what anyone would do for their loved one. Nope, you're special. A sudden deepening of his blush filled you with happy, buzzing energy. Tamaki? Yeah? There's a lake I know in a nearby park. Do you want to go later? Looking down at your hands, lacing with his, he smiled softly. I'd love to. Your stomach growled. Oh, right. You hadn't had anything since lunch. And your stomach apparently thought now that you were having a moment with Tamaki was the perfect time to remind you of your hunger. The black-haired man only chuckled and led you towards the kitchen. Let's get you something to eat first. You smiled sheepishly, enjoying the feel of his hand on yours. Thank you, Tamaki. You don't know how much this means to me. There was no way Tamaki could know what he'd truly done for you, but deep down, you knew. Tamaki had kept you from destroying yourself. Alright, so that's the end of this one. I hope you enjoyed. I don't have too much to say, again, but thank the moderators if you're in the live chat. Cool. Okay, music link, fanfic link, Discord link, and thumbnail art link are all in the description. Go check those out. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, whatever, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye!